I'm Jeff here today. Like you to look at another terrible situation in the West Algoa Bay along the South African southeast coast, 400 port city kilometers from Cape Town. Elizabeth is also a major, the sixth most important seaport, populous South African city, November 2004 in this city. 18-year-old Chris Panayotu graduated HS and joined Trading Corporation. Owned by his father, significant store network city restaurants and surroundings, Chris wanted to be involved in his father's business from childhood, became curious about the details, retail chain management and how Grow Retail Services had incredible energy determination. His dreams were vast, beyond executive and skillful. He worked for his father. He wanted his own fish. Eatery near a 5-star hotel on Marina Drive and a huge market near downtown Kings Beach. That afternoon, he helped his dad a modest Market Street diner. The one-story building was small and glamour, but was popular with neighboring kids. Chris Panayo also reached his peak. School classmate who invited him to mutual Friday night party buddies at Barney's Tavern on consistent and constant success among young people sitting in wicker bamboo on Friday sit and drink beer from the Chris establishment specialty mug saw a lovely girl seated solo in the bar drinking lemonade. Young man left seat. Tall glass and approached her. Her name was, she turned 18 when JD Dinks years old. A spark immediately raced between them. The kids found many shared interests quickly. Chris and JD started dating after that party. Dating unaware that they, meeting at Barney's Tavern Friday night, would precede a terrible love. Triangle tale that led to terrible death. JD was a girl with pleasant, nice personality, everlasting desire to bring joy and warmth to others. Inspired her dedication teaching in 2005, she enrolled university while JD studied studies. Chris founded a company with determination and entrepreneurship. A neighborhood grocery store opened first. Store then a local eatery cocktail bar Chris named Endless. Despite youth activity, the sentiments between JD and Chris increased stronger. It was when their relationship was strengthening like new tree roots penetrating JD, and Chris dug deeper. Developed their own space happiness, kindness, and love appeared eternal. Days of joy and hope for an infinitely happy future. Later, the lovers had interpersonal troubles, or rather one female issue. Chanel Kutis was once employed by her store with her boss, Chris Panayotu, only work relations. However, all changed after a year among office corridors and long store windows. Chris's secret love. His employee Chanel Kutis bloomed slowly, and this woman became more than a retail employee. But Chris's lover too carefully hidden, but workers working near this pair was impossible. But notice the little touches of affection for each other. Glances, mysterious grins, and kind gestures evoked mystery and some hint. The lovers met discreetly at night in local pleasant motels, and when JD was away, Chris took Chanel home by wonderful time for family and pals. JD and Chris looked alike, established young couple. They were very good together and seemed successful and promising. JD graduated university and got an elementary school position on Nelson Chris and Mandela Bay's business, doing well. They got engaged ultimately. Started live together. Chris's Chanel relationship persisted. Chris's dad, Costa Panayotu, devastated on one hand and angered by the unexpected news of his son's secret affair retail worker how Chris dated was beyond him. Knowledgeable and decent JD for 8 years before the wedding could act immorally, Dad Costa found his son at Limitless, celebrating his engagement with pals. The heated discussion began there. Happened Costa threatened to disinherit. If Chris kept dating Chanel, Chris promised his father he would left Chanel, but kept going affair with Cooties while JD, not aware of her fiancé's affairs, the side. So Chris and JD securely married in 2012. JD quickly received invitation to work at Rebecca College. Chris paying heavily to support his first customers were 2 women. Blow his funds plummeted, giving his mistress extravagant gifts on luxurious hotel rooms and treats. Actively assisted law enforcement. They released him. Custody provided a comprehensive evidence collection. Chris confessed to his wife. Authorities promised murder for this to reduce Latonda Chione's sentence, following police orders. Latonda summoned Chris for private discussion was recorded with special gear. Panayotu was totally unveiled. This enabled the investigation arrest Chris 2 hours later at night telephone call with Latonda. Soon after hearing comprehensive testimony from 3 more individuals, were detained arrested afterward. The image of crime was totally recreated, days, hours, minutes. Chris told the hitmen to kill him. Wife JD Panayotu in April, morning 20th, 2015. She would wait at 6:30 a.m. for her coworker Cheryl in a car. It would get her work today. The criminals had a setback. Cheryl picked up JD in her automobile early to save her that spring-April Friends Life morning the killers had to reschedule. Executing the following order day was better for them. April 21st, JD appeared outdoors, gates of her community at 6:15 a.m. 3 crooks were present, 2 in an ambush nearby, her typical waiting spot colleague. Now the killers changed their plan, did not kill JD near the housing estate, but kidnapped her and took her to execute their evil in another place planned there. JD had no time to actively refuse so quickly and unexpectedly attack. 2 men grabbed JD tightly, both sides under her arms deprived. She lost maneuverability and was thrown violently into the rear seat of a speeding car automobile, surprised the young woman that she didn't shout or fight them. Kidnappers sat on either side, she was trapped. JD offered a racing automobile. The thieves had other money, their thoughts. After 30 minutes of fast driving, pulled off the dirt road into the woods northwest of the village, they led girl to a ravine and each shot a pistol after the men took Coldblood's jewelry and valuables, dumped the body into a tiny ravine, quickly covering it with brushwood. The crooks drove to an ATM nearby, withdrew $100 utilizing bank card of slain woman same day they tried to remove cash again, but incorrectly inserted PIN code payment failed. Both withdrawals were executed, captured via surveillance cameras. On October 11, 2015, Chris was tried. 2 mercenaries started created enormous interest. Case was nationwide in every media with details. Details the prosecution claimed financial debt drove the murder. Challenges of supporting 2 women. Chris's trial mistress and wife revealed case highlights. Chris's mistress, Chanel, took it. Witness testifies regarding the extravagant presents Chris handed her. Her testimony also proved she sleepover with Chris while JD was away and described their passion hotel nights in the city. Several pieces of evidence, court documents like records calls between hired killers and Latonda Scion nightclub bouncer ATM footage and photos confirm withdrawals, GPS coordinates, hidden car location, and more evidence of the defendant's involvement in murder. The court discussed finances position of Chris, who appeared struggling to support both women. This motivated removal of them unexplained death of third defendant before trial, adding to the case's mystery. He may have been a key witness for prosecution, or may have had information that might have more harmful to Chris and his co-defendants. The court found enough proof to involvement of Chris and mercenaries in murder motivation was tied to financial and life issues. Chris, who opted to remove solution, one of the women to his issues. JD's life was tragic. 2 brief and full of injustice. Court-called witnesses described JD as a caring woman. All who knew her lost her, loved her. The court concluded Chris greedily killed his wife to prevent financial issues. This purpose enhances his action. Harsh Chris's actions show how some people can overreact lengths to benefit Chris and the 2 hired killers. Received a fair life sentence punishment for a terrible crime. Litancioni was not yet sentenced. He cooperated with law enforcement, while some remain mysterious. 6 unexpected moments in tale of tragedy. The terrible death of Chris's father, Costa, December 9, 2019. Panayotou added more mystery and sadness to the already existing catastrophe. Chris's infatuation with shop employee and Costa Panayotou refusal to accept this option. His kid may have provided. Family strife is not who killed Costa Panayotou and why. This horrible crime leaves many outstanding questions and adds mystery to an already complex Chris's situation. Panayotou prioritized himself, wants over life and health, intimate relationship with his wife and family, anger and condemnation if his conduct tied to his father's death. It would complicate an already terrible if Chris having anything to do with him, punish him for father's death, not boost profits business. Over 3 years, Chris became growing apart from his wife, pursuing his affair privately, ruining his family and business. JD felt lonely. Life and Chris had her back burning without time to care her. The girl told her companions she was deeply disappointed relationship with her husband. Her efforts to revive the former nothing came from harmony. Realized her deeds were pointless. September 2014. JD realized she was nervous meltdown imminent. Today, September 21st, she addressed oneself by penning a letter, revealed her profound feelings. JD explains herself clearly in the letter. Want love and normalcy. Marriage, she conveyed her emotions, desiring feelings and experiences, love her spouse, and want for closeness and support. She wanted a normal man who would protect her and with whom she could healthy relationships. In her frank letter, JD expressed discontent with her husband's hiding things from her. This made her feel mistrust and uncertainty. Her state was like her heart stolen from her and torn and stamped. JD also wanted to spend more. Time with her husband in early April morning, 20th, 2015, Monday, rental car. 3 robust men stopped at the looking cheerful village gate. Young Panayo 2 couple living fashion was highlighted. Dressed impatient girl waiting for someone by the roadside. 2 of the 3 had begun exit the car by opening the doors when the driver left behind wheel ordered them to stay. Their seats. They watched via tinted glass. Their black BMW parked beside sitting in the rear seat. The automobile accelerated past them. The driver annoyingly clapped his hands the steering wheel. Tuesday morning at 6:15, J.D. Panayotu departed home as usual. College work was no longer possible over 40 minutes to her workplace work and waited for her companion and co-worker Cheryl in her BMW to travel. She glanced unconsciously at the curb where she saw yesterday's automobile. Cheryl ran with tinted windows. Late J.D. removed her phone. Pursed to call her friend, her sideways vision showed 2 people approaching her from the street shrubs. Cheryl was 10 minutes behind, but J.D. wasn't her typical self. Spot Cheryl's unsuccessful phone call and house door calls were also futile. College officials confirmed J.D.'s absence. Rose in Cheryl's heart from job anxiety. She contacted police 10 a.m. J.D. Panayotu announced missing to the social media. Same day, the search for also started missing young woman police, and at K9 unit local volunteers and community searched for night collapsed, but there were still no results. Morning search resumed. An information incentive was announced. About J.D., it rose to 10 in the morning. A dog officer with his dog Angel found the bushy ravine body of J.D. Panayotu near Quano Bushley. She was dressed. Medical examiner found 2 gunshot wounds wounded back, and 1 shot to the bank cards and jewels were hers. Gone like someone attempted to conceal the murder's reasons, not merely violence, but an inhumane act who kills of a gentle and harmless individual. J.D.'s family was shocked. Mates couldn't believe it happened. J.D.'s pupils and co-workers were sorrowing over the horrible tragedy spread like ocean waves. Broad nationwide social media buzzed with grief and confusion. Who could have done this? Senseless murder. On October 22nd, J.D.'s family held a Catholic church memorial service. A funeral was attended by uncountable Port Elizabeth residents. Terrible and absurd was young woman's death. It struck city residents and resonated with hearts of grief and compassion among family and friends of J.D.'s students died. Colleagues who paid their respects and mourns young teacher separate from J.D.'s friends. Panayota City Cemetery was close attended by South Operatives African Police Service, whose focus was intrigued by the peculiar behavior deceased spouse Chris Young businessman's sadness appeared rather artificial, but mostly investigators were shocked by clearly planned parting speech widower reviewing its text internet search engines. Police noted remarkable similarities of Chris's epitaph dedicated to Charles Atkins to his late wife of obviously not direct evidence, but the police suspected regarding Chris Panyotu's role, the terrible death of his wife chose to monitor him, and several additional worrisome details pointed to Chris's involvement murdering his wife on the tip-off before the funeral. Police arrested special agents on speculation of involvement in this heinous act, one Leighton DeSion, who was a security guard at Chris's Panayotu club. The man stated that Chris asked him to hire killers. For his wife, and Leighton DeSion found 3 of his mates' cops discovered that on the day of her murderer wanted to use her bank cards twice. After checking surveillance footage, detectives found photos of 2 Leighton DeSion men, Latanda, his hired killer.